Taking a break from his busy schedule of hand-washing and rewatching Tiger King. It's time for BSing with Big Nate.
Welcome into BSing with Big Nate. Big Nate here, ready with a big load of BS for your Sunday. I am joined by none other than Huck. You know him from Brews Day Tuesday and Huck's Beer Buzz. How you doing, Huck?
I'm doing great. That's the first intro I ever had where I was called a big load of BS. But hey, it's probably as accurate as an introduction as I've ever had.
You know, I didn't mean it that way, but I could see how it would be taken that way. But you know what? I've known you a while. I feel confident that your feelings aren't terribly hurt.
No, you know how sensitive we are. It's like I say, I used to have feelings, but I don't anymore.
Exactly. So how have you been doing throughout all this?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. About a week ago, I found out that I had already had, the coronavirus, and I have antibodies. So, I'm kind of free to go, but I have nowhere to go still. And people just don't believe it. Anyway, they're like, you can still be sick. I said, well, no, I already got sick, and now I'm well. But it's going to be interesting next 6 months, I think.
I feel like at that point you've already got the antibodies, so your body's ready to fight it, even if it did resurface. It's kind of, that's a conversation that we've been having around the station. Even it'd be one thing if we could just get through it, get over with it, and move on. But
a lot of people do want to get that done, and if you're not at risk, and then I'm at risk. I'm 65. I just got it, but I was really sick, but I wasn't deathly sick, and I'm fine now. But the argument is, well, the doctor's saying that you might get it again. Well, the doctor that tested me said, no, I'm not going to get it again. So I'm going to go with the doctor I actually had a face-to-face conversation with, as opposed to the internet doctors.
Exactly. Everyone's a doctor on the internet. It's
right. So I'm going to go with that. And I feel it's really relief. And I would recommend, if you can, get a test, find out if you had it. Everybody. That would be great. It makes you feel a lot better.
And I mean, the options are out there. Where did you go to get your
I went to Floyd, but I called the health department the first Monday they offered the test at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they interviewed me about my sickness and who I'd been in contact with. And I had indirect contact with people from China, and they said, okay, you can take a test. And they gave me both tests. So I have the antibodies, but I don't have the virus. So
well, there you go.
I think that's as clean of a thing as you can get.
It's good to know your status with stuff like this. I think it's kind of like that.
She said, if the next version, I can probably get it, but I won't be as sick as I was.
Exactly.
So that's
good.
I
brought you here. Usually you're used to talking to Drez about beer, and you guys have some fun with that. And, I figure we're all stuck at home. Why limit ourselves to beer? So I reached out to you earlier this week and said, hey, let's make a drink. Let's make a good mixed drink. And I trusted you, and I am sitting here with, if I can turn my camera around and show everyone, I have got maple syrup, bourbon, an egg, and the ice is in my freezer.
Okay.
So tell me we're making a whiskey sour. I've never made a drink with an egg white. Really, honestly, as complex as I get, usually is bourbon and Coke, rum and Coke, liquor and Coke. So this is going to be a fun little adventure we're about to go on here.
Pre-gaming with a lemon seltzer. So just throw that
there
out
you
there.
go.
So I learned to make a drink on a train in Peru on my way to Lake Titicaca. And it was like the bar car, and the guy made what they call a pisco sour, and it had an egg white in it. And then he had asked for a volunteer to come up and try to do it, and they made me do it. So I did, and that's great. So this is going to be similar to that. And I was reading about drinks and what to drink, and this is something that you probably have everything in your house. So Drez actually hooked me up with this bottle of Buffalo Trace, so I'm gonna crack that finally. It'll be gone, by Monday. I stopped and got some sweet bourbon barrel aged maple syrup. Okay, so the maple syrup takes the place of what we would call simple syrup, and simple syrup is simply water and sugar cooked until it's so sweet your teeth hurt. Okay, so maple syrup does that naturally. Okay, we boil it down, that's what we get. This is going to be just so cool. I have a Floyd Farm Fresh green egg. Hopefully it's okay when we pop it, but it's farm fresh. I have a couple of big giant lemons, my mixing equipment, shot glass, strainer, knife. And so I guess what we should do is maybe I should make the drink and then show you how to do it, or we could go together either way. What are you thinking?
Let's I'm all about trial by fire. Let's learn.
All right, let's go together.
Together.
All right, so this is going to be a little different because we're not going to put ice in the glass to start. Okay, so the reason is once we get the ingredients in there, we're going to shake it before the ice to get the egg to emulsify, and then we'll put the ice in and shake it, and it should give us a really nice white head on the drink. So we'll see what happens. Either that, or we're just drinking, some weird bourbon. So I'm gonna start.
Yeah, bourbon covers for anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with a couple shots of bourbon.
All right, get my the finest that Evan Williams can make. The
Evan. I got a bottle of Evan White over there, but we're gonna do this one. So I'm gonna put in this. This is 1.25 ounces. So I'm gonna put 2 of those in.
And that goes in the shaker.
Right. Then we're going to take the maple syrup, if you will. And now the mix is 2 parts lemon juice to 1.5 parts maple syrup. So I maybe ought to cut this lemon and see what I get. In case I don't have enough.
I'm not going to use my hand. I got this handy dandy juicer. We're going to go ahead and
all right.
You're more man than I am on this one, Huck.
Well, I got a juicer too, but I'd probably have to wash it. So that's 1/2. I'm hoping to get basically 2 shots out of this, but I have 2 lemons. I have a cut on my finger with a Band-Aid. I just stuck it in the lemon. That's gonna be good later. That's 2. Let me pop the other lemon. Maybe I should use the juicer. I figure we're not in a hurry. That's why. So I know that I got about a shot out of those 2. So I'm just going to squeeze this one in. Squeeze this one in. All right. I need a towel. Clean up my mess. How's the juicer working for you?
Pretty well. I got 2 shots out of 1 lemon.
Nice. Well, this is good. I might have another one.
And what was the ratio on the lemon to the syrup?
2 shots of lemon and 1.5 shot of maple syrup.
All right.
And then we just want the egg white, right? Do you know how to do that? I can give you a demonstration. They did make devices for that, little cups, if you have one. But you can easily do it using the shell.
See, that I'm familiar with.
All right, yeah. So we're just going to take this, crack it, and then we'll go back and forth with it. Get the egg white in there. I think we're good. All right. Look how yellow that fresh egg is. Yellow, yellow. Very dark yellow.
Store-bought action. It's not as good. But shot glass full of the white. Now we dump that in there.
All right.
All right.
And if you want to be like, you want to be really cool, you got to do it like this. Good. I don't know why it makes any difference that you have to go on either side of your head. That's how they always do it.
Tom Cruise level, flipping it.
Yeah, do it.
Then we won't have a drink.
You want to mix it really good. Got a lot of thick stuff in there. All right, mine's looking pretty good. So now,
that white head.
Oh, you're gonna have to wait. I didn't get a glass. I'll be right back.
See, I got a glass. That's one thing I was ready for. Is the consumption of the delicious
took such care and preparation and forgot the glass. Okay, now we're going to put some ice in there. I got a little tray of ice.
All right, give me a second. I'll grab the ice. I didn't want it to melt.
Right. Looks like it's going to be delicious. So
we put the ice in the drinking glass?
Go ahead and put the ice in with the drink.
The shaker. Okay.
Right. We're gonna drink it without ice. We're gonna strain it into the glass.
Okay.
All right. So now we're gonna shake it with ice.
That should be enough ice. Now we'll get a little noisier on the shaking.
All right. Strain this bad boy in. Oh, that looks delicious.
That is a beautiful color.
Look, and it just fills my glass. These are, we were at the Mexican restaurant and Liz was admiring the glass they serve the drinks in. So I ordered some from Mexico.
See, now I'm facing a dilemma before we even get started.
What's the matter?
The lid for my syrup and the lid for my bourbon are almost the same. So
you're going to have either bourbon aged syrup or maple bourbon, either of which are good. Cheers, my friend.
Finish. Cheers.
Oh, that's good.
That is really good.
All natural, all fresh products. I mean, I don't think you can make a better drink than that.
No, that's really solid. Ooh.
Yeah.
There you go. Your perfect quarantine cocktail using ingredients you have laying around almost.
Look at the white head on this thing. I mean, it's super foamy. It's perfect. And that's the way it was on the train. And we were at 12,000 feet when we made that one.
If you couldn't smell it, you'd think, oh, that guy's just drinking a beer. Really?
It does really look like a New England IPA, doesn't it? Very resemblance of. So the real Quarantini, Dres and I had one, and it's gin and that vitamin C powder that keeps you from getting the flu. But they don't recommend. They don't say it'll really work. They say
no tonic water in there.
No, we did the gin show and forgot tonic water, which is quinine, which treats what is it, malaria, yellow fever.
So, it treats a whole bunch of things. So the quinine.
So it could be good for the Rona as well.
That's one that one of my favorite excuses to drink rum was always with a little bit of lime was the lime's just keeping the scurvy away.
That's right.
That was like the deficiency was the vitamin C, but it's always been intriguing to me, like those drinking facts that stick out. Like, I don't know if you know, like the history of pirates and rum comes from rum being so cheap and they would just use it to dilute the water, is my understanding.
Yeah, and make it drinkable. Or they drink it instead of water. That was, everybody got a ration of rum.
Yeah.
And that's when you had a mutiny, was when you didn't get your ration. You ran out of rum. It's an amazing amount. So a couple other things during this time of we're all homebound is you can now order beer online. Good beer from the Vale and Aslan Brewing and places like that. So if go on to your favorite breweries that you'd have to go to, Adroit Theory, Champion Brewing, all these places, and more are adding every day. Just go online. It's a little pricey. The shipping's like $40, but if you order a bunch of beer, if you drove there, your gas would be $50. So, you drove to Northern Virginia to Aslan, so you might as well order it online. And
the one that stuck out to me that I know you ordered some. I don't know. I think you guys did it on Brews Day Tuesday as well as the Vale, because it's been my understanding for years that the Vale is actually kind of hard to come by.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, it still is. If you want to order Vale beer online, you order it at 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning. By noon on Tuesday, it's all sold out for the week. So I didn't get any. I got Aslan beer this week, and I think I can't remember. I got 3 breweries coming in this week for the next couple weeks shows. So we're doing that as much as we can. And but I'm drinking half the beer.
What has been your staple, like that you're keeping on your shelf, in your fridge rather, that
Well,
you
I'm a
know,
big
throughout all
fan.
this while you're waiting on other shipments?
My daily intake is a couple of White Claws in the evening, and then maybe a glass of bourbon or two while the wife and I watch some TV.
I
So,
like,
but if I'm drinking beer, it's usually I'm doing a happy hour online. We do some Zoom happy hours pretty much every night. Saturday's a big one with a lot of the beer writers, and we try to get fancy beers, and that's when I drink the fancy beers. I try to drink beer twice a week, so there you go.
that's not bad. They say there are definitely some ancillary health benefits that you wouldn't necessarily expect with drinking daily in moderation.
Right. I mean, everybody's moderation, your mileage may vary. But also, if you get beers with live yeast, and other than the coronavirus, I haven't been sick in 5 or 6 years because I think it's so much yeast, live yeast keeps me from getting sick. That's, anecdotal, but they say Jim Cook, who owns Boston Beer Company, he eats yeast every day. And he
Yeah.
does it because he says he has to drink all day and it keeps him from getting drunk. Now, a lot of arguments on that on the internet. Can you imagine arguments on the internet? How
See,
could that even happen?
see, I put a lot of stock in the Jim Cook theory because I've heard that one before too, and it makes sense because the first thing, at least from my understanding, the first thing the alcohol is going to attack is the yeast and the sugars in your gut, and so I can see that being the case.
Yeah, not to
However,
name drop, but I've had breakfast with him, at like the Great American Beer Festival. They have a breakfast and he's there and we get to chat. It's not like, a big deal. He gives us a little talk and everybody hangs around and talks, a bunch of beer people. And so, yeah, and he has a glass of beer in his hand the entire time. I mean, 3 or 4 hours, and he's not just holding it, he's drinking it.
there's a guy I know who kind of had a similar story. He used to be in marketing for Breeze, and then he moved over to sales in some sort of design capacity. But he would get called in occasionally when brewers in the upper Midwest would mess up their recipe and needed to know what they needed to buy to fix. He would get called in to drink it, and his thing was he was drinking so much beer that he got sick of it and made the switch to wine and would only beer was his work beverage.
Yeah,
That did
and
not become the case.
I know a woman that's one of the best barbecue people in the world, and she opened a couple of restaurants, and now she doesn't even like the barbecue. That was her thing. She just loved the barbecue. She goes, now I hate it because now it's work.
So that's what you don't do what you love. You do what you moderately like.
Right.
And
You
can
do what you
tolerate
love,
for
it's going to make you sick. I think
exactly.
in the end. Okay, so I moderately like laying around. Can I get paid for that, Nate?
If anyone could do it,
I knew that.
my money's on you.
I kind of knew that was coming.
But I don't know, because when I see you, you're always go, go, go. So I don't know if you could actually do that for a long period of time. I feel like you'd stir crazy and be like, you know what? I got to go up to the river. I got to go to the.
Yeah, I just got back from the river, so.
Yeah, you guys had some.
They tried to flood us. Tried to flood us. I seriously, at one point, I may have had a few of those good beers. Is I found these two logs were floating down, two little perfect firewood sticks, about 12 inches long, 3 inches in diameter. I took the rake and I pulled them out of the water and I set them on the edge where the water line was. And I said, this is my new juju, and the water cannot pass the juju. And the water did not pass. It came right to there, stood there for 2 hours, and then it receded. So you just got to have the right juju.
This is true. Speaking of juju and needing some positive juju, Floyd Fest this year. What are your thoughts? You think we're going to end up being allowed to have it, or?
Well, where I'm supposed to be right now is at the big giant racetrack in New Orleans, where Jazz Fest's second week should be going on, and I should be listening to I forget who tonight, but that's where I should be right now. It's Saturday night in New Orleans, and that's where I'm supposed to be. But here I am. It's even better to be with Nate, though. I'm just saying. Couldn't make it.
I appreciate it.
But I think at Floyd Fest right now, I'd give it 40-60. Probably 40 going to happen, 60 not going to happen. But
that's like my vacation every year.
Yeah, I've already got my Delta Lot site, and and I don't know. I think we really need to get those tests out there. We need to see who's had it.
I think that would be the easiest measure.
If you know who's had it, any number right now is, I call it, imaginary number. If you don't know how many people have had it, you don't know what the death rate is. You don't know what the infection rate is. You don't know what the symptom rate is. You need that bottom number. What is that called? The numerator. You need the numerator. We got a lot of denominators. We have 0 numerators. So let's get that, and we'll see where we go.
I think absolutely widespread testing would do a lot to ease a lot of people's concerns, and we could get back to some semblance of normal life. But in the meantime, we can make whiskey sours.
And there's, just as Floyd Fest, a lot of them, there's a really lot of good music online, streaming.
They're doing a lot of cool stuff.
$10. Just, Venmo them $10, listen to some music. I do it almost every night.
That's definitely, I find it intriguing that I'm listening to a lot more often, just sheerly based on the accessibility. So that is one thing I'll say, is they say that necessity is the mother of invention. These musicians are hustling. They're getting out there. They're getting their music out there. And I'm hoping that once this all stops, that doesn't stop.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hope that continues. I think we've changed. I think the society is going to change a little bit, just like it did after 9/11. It's going to be different. There's going to be less people, wanting to get in big groups. But we'll see what happens.
I think
a couple of years of this, and we should be good to go.
Yeah, I think a lot of positives have come out of this. I hope the music stays accessible, that these artists keep that creativity. I'm also hoping that I can still get a beer delivered to my house easily, because that's also a pretty daggone great thing. Of course, this is BS with Big Nate, your Sunday edition, joined by Huck of Huck's Beer Buzz and Brews Day Tuesday. We made a whiskey sour. I'll post the recipe, but really, you should make yourself one. Thanks, Huck.
Thank you for having me. See you next time.